One of the characteristics of the Good Shepherd is that he lays down his life for his sheep, as Jesus says. So unlike the hired hand, who only works for pay and whose sheep are not his own, the Good Shepherd will lay down his life. And Jesus repeats that theme later on in the same Gospel of John at the Last Supper when he says, "There is no greater love than to lay down your life for your friends." And then Jesus goes out doing just that, laying down his life for the apostles and for us as well. So the Good Shepherd is one who lays down his life. John's Gospel is very much concerned with the idea that the crucifixion, the death of Jesus, is not just a random event that happened to Jesus. It wasn't pure accident or just some kind of injustice, but Jesus himself chose to lay down his life for us, for everybody. And so Pilate wants to release Jesus. Jesus, of course, is innocent. He needs the betrayal of Judas in order to get arrested. All kinds of ways that Jesus doesn't have to lay down his life, but John's Gospel is strong in making it clear that this is what Jesus wants to do. He chooses to lay down his life for us. And then, as he says later on in the Gospel today, I have the power to lay down my life, and I have the power to take it back up again. So Jesus lays down his life on purpose, and he's resurrected as well, takes up his life also. In the Gospel, right near the end, one of the key lines of Jesus, when he says, "No one takes my life from me." He says, "I have the power to lay it down." And so, again, Jesus chooses to lay down his life. Nobody takes his life from him. And I think those words can be spoken truly for us as well, by us. I'm not sure, though, we always believe that. I'm not sure we always believe that your life is yours to live. Your life is yours to direct it in the way you want to direct it, to write the story of your life as you wish to write it, to take charge of your life, at least to the extent possible, right? We have some physical or psychological limitations and some obligations, some things we have to take care of. But for the most part, your life is yours to live, to direct, to write, to take charge of. That is, it's your life, and nobody takes it from you. Again, I'm not sure we always believe that, because I think sometimes you end up making excuses for your behavior, or you make excuses for your depression, not non-clinical, but you make excuses for being sad, excuses for aimlessness in life. What do I want to do, being carried this way and that? I'm not sure. I'll go with this crowd, then I'll go with that crowd. Or maybe you make excuses for a lack of love in your life, or a lack of intimacy on some levels, or for a lack of joy in your life. Sometimes you end up making excuses. Oh, but my boss and my coworkers are so hard to get along with, so hard to be a good Christian at work. Or my spouse and I, we fell out of love years ago, and we kind of went in different directions, and so that's why it's a loveless marriage right now. Or there's no time for us because we have to take care of the kids, and the kids kind of separated us in some ways. Or the idea that, well, I don't really stay in touch with my children, they don't call me anymore. Or my brother or my sister, they don't call me anymore either. That's why I don't really have a relationship with them like I used to have before when we were younger. Or I have this weakness or this sin in my life, but that's because something bad happened to me a long time ago. And that's why I'm just this way, and nothing's going to change. Or, I'm kind of angry and grumpy at home because my parents are so strict. Can't have a boyfriend, I can't go out with my friends, I can't do the things I want to do. That's why I'm really kind of angry and grumpy. It's more their fault. It's not my fault. It's my parents' fault. Or I'd like to exercise and lose weight and diet. I'd love to be a healthy person. I'd love to get rid of all the clutter in my house, but I just don't have the time. Work, family, is just not going to happen. Or, I like to not be so impatient or angry, but I guess I was just born like this. It's what I learned from my family, just the way that I am, and there are so many people that want to make me impatient and angry as well. So we end up making a lot of excuses for our lives, for ourselves and for our behavior, instead of taking a little bit more responsibility at times. So in a sense, what you're saying is, my life is not my own, and someone took it from me. It's not my life anymore. It's someone else's life. No, it's only half true. The truth is, it's not your life anymore, not because someone took it from you, but because you gave it away. Because you gave control, direction, writing of the script of your life, you gave that to somebody else. And I hope you did so, and you did so willingly, more or less. It's not that someone took it from you, you laid it down, you gave it to somebody else. And so they're the ones that are controlling and directing your life. You gave it to your boss, you gave it to your spouse, you gave it to your kids, your parents, you gave it to your physical limitations, you gave it to sin or temptation. so that there's no way to change it. This is just the way it's going to be in your mind. The solution to all this is not living for yourself. It's not being as selfish and self-centered as possible, right? I'm just going to think about me and that's it. There's no one else I care about. It's all about serving me right now. It's not the solution. It's not the solution that Jesus mentions in the gospel. He says, no one takes my life from me, but he says, I'm the good shepherd who lays down my life, but I have the power to lay it down, and I have the power to take it up again. No one tells me whom to lay it down for, or when to lay it down. I choose whom I lay my life down for. I choose when I lay my life down. I choose when I take it back up again. I choose when I put myself at the service of others, and I choose when, okay, I need to pull back from that a little bit, take care of myself in some ways as also. And so for us, I think that the words of Jesus are true for you and me. You have the power to lay down your life. You have the power to take it up again. It's not in the context of resurrection, because we don't have the power to resurrect ourselves, of course. But like Jesus, the Good Shepherd, you choose to lay down your life for others. You choose to lay down your life for your spouse, for your children, for your parents, for your siblings, for your boss, for your co-workers, for your friends, for your parish, for your country. It doesn't just happen to you. It's your deliberate, well-thought-out decision to live your life that way, to direct your life in that area, to follow those values and principles that you have. It's not just going to happen to you. It's something that you're going to choose to do, and you're going to make it happen. For example, so at work, instead of being always upset or angry at work, because I'm going to choose to be happy at work. I'm going to lay down my life for certain people at work. I'm not going to let my boss or other people get to me. I'm not going to let them lead me into the sin that might be gossip or cheating people or whatever it might be, taking things from work. I'm going to do the best job that I can do at my work, and that's fine. But no one's going to make me, it's no one's fault that I'm not happy at work. That's my fault as well. Or maybe the idea that, I'll do the best that I can in raising my children. I'm going to do everything I can for them while they're at home. But when my children become adults and they leave the house, I'm not going to make my happiness and my relationship with them depend upon them doing what I want them to do. I'm not going to be directing their lives all the time. I'm not going to tell them what to do. And I'm not going to take their decisions personally. Their decisions maybe to leave the church, to leave the Catholic faith, to leave any faith whatsoever. Their decisions to go with this person or that person. I'm not going to let their choice of a spouse take away my relationship with them. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to continue to have a relationship with my children, and I'm going to call even if they don't call me, so that the lack of relationship is not all their fault. I'm going to choose to take control of that in my life. Or maybe the idea that in school, I'm going to do the best that I can in school. Since I need to be there anyway, I'll study, I'll do the things I need to do in school, but there's no friend or boyfriend or girlfriend that makes me a grumpy person at home, or that takes away my time with my family, or the values that I have, or takes me away from my other friends too. I'm going to choose to be a healthy and an integral whole person at school as well. Or maybe the idea of sometimes losing our Catholic faith or the challenges to it in late high school or young adulthood, that nobody takes my Catholic faith away from me. Just because I heard a lecture in college and it challenged my Catholic faith, and I read this book and the professor told me that, and it all seems to be contradictory, no one's taken my faith away from me. If I don't have it anymore, it's because I gave it away, not because someone took it from me. And so I'm going to be the one who's responsible for learning these things, for trying to reconcile classroom and church together. I'm the one responsible for that. Nobody takes my faith away from me. I hand it over if I do so. Or maybe the idea that, I understand that after many years of marriage, my wife's almost always going to be late. Wherever we're going, she's pretty much going to be late. And I understand also that my husband's probably never going to go to church. He'll never come to church with me or pray with me or talk about God. Or I understand that my wife's kind of a homebody, just kind of stays there all the time, doesn't go anywhere. Or my husband, when he's driving, he's going to get angry. I know that. And after so many, many years of marriage, I'm not expecting anybody to change. And I choose to stay in my marriage. I choose to love my spouse without expecting him or her to change, without expecting help from him or her, without thinking that they're the ones who are responsible for my happiness. I choose to stay, I choose to love, and I choose to lay down my life for my spouse to the best extent that I can. And I choose also at times to take up my life again, and I choose to be happy, even despite some of these differences in character and personality that in the past would kind of bother me. Or maybe the idea that in my life of my spiritual life, it's nobody else's fault that I'm an angry person or that I'm impatient. I have no excuse for not going to church every Sunday. I have no excuse for not praying. It's not because I'm busy and I have other things to do. Everybody's busy. Everybody has things to do. I choose to be generous. I choose to tithe, to be generous to my church, to be generous to charity, and be generous with other people. I'm the one that chooses to maintain my relationships, to remedy as best I can the ones that are broken right now. I'm the one who needs to forgive, instead of waiting for somebody to ask me for forgiveness first. I need to be proactive in my relationships with other people. Or maybe as a priest, I choose to be a priest who's not too busy to pray every day. Instead of saying, Lord, I have so many things to do, my work is my prayer. Or these people are very, very demanding, I have no time for myself, and therefore no time for you. Or these people demand so much of this time, that's why I'm short-tempered and angry most of the time. Or the idea that, I choose to be a priest who respects and obeys my bishop even when I don't agree with all the things that he does. And instead of waiting for him to let me run the diocese, or waiting for him to agree with me on everything, I choose to respect and obey and to be good to him and kind to him, even if he never listens to what I have to say, even if he has no care whatsoever for my opinion on how the church or the diocese should be run. How I live my life as a priest, it's up for me to decide and for me to choose. And there are many, many examples in our lives for how we live, or for where we give direction and control of our lives over to other people instead. In the end, we do want to be kind and lay down our lives for others. We want to put ourselves at the service of other people. Love seeks the well-being of other people before it seeks its own happiness and its own well-being. We want to be that way. However, like Jesus, we choose when and how to lay down our lives for other people. We choose to some extent for whom, right? We don't lay down our lives necessarily for everybody, but especially for the ones that are closest to us and the people we have most contact with on a regular basis in our lives. Maybe part of the challenge is to see or to examine in your own life who runs or who rules, who directs your own life, from to whom have you given control of your life over to. So that maybe like Jesus, we can have a good, healthy balance in our lives, understanding that no one takes your life from you. You have the power to lay it down. You have the power to take it up again.